Hello and welcome back to another ShieldX tutorial. Today we are going to be doing something crazy. We're going to make our own plugin. So first let's check out our little example shop. So it seems that we have an XP booster in there for free. So let's buy that XP booster. Right, let's check out our inventory. Now if we quickly just send a message to update the system, we have a 2 times XP boost for 50 messages, which means that every time we send a message for the next 50 messages, we're going to get twice as much XP. Now, that sounds like a good deal to me. So we're going to use our custom use command and use that nice old XP booster. We check our inventory, empty inventory. Check our stats. See, we're earning XP a lot faster than usual. Different from the normal in between 2 and 5. Now it's all the way to 4 and 10. You can see because we just earned 9 XP from one message. Normally that wouldn't be possible without this 2 times XP boost. Now, how exactly are we going to do this? I mean, coding, it seems hard, right? Well, let's just start with getting our showcase over with. Okay, so now we're in the tutorial server. You can tell because the newbie color is salmon. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to this link, the discord.com/developers/applications. This link will be in the description along with all the other links that you're going to need throughout this video. And we're going to want to click new application, get started. I'm just going to call this my ShieldX plugin. So you're going to use this to beta test your plugin. So you're going to want to go to bot and click add bot. Let's just click yes, do it. So this token is very special. Now I'm going to show it because this bot is only going to be temporary. I'm probably going to delete it afterwards. But this token's like the password to your bot. And so you don't want anyone else to know it. So you're going to copy that password. And that's what you're going to use to activate your bot. So now you're going to want to go to another link. And you're going to want to download this plugin testing bot. You're going to want to go to the latest release. You're going to want to download the source code. So now you can open up this package right here. And you see you have your license. Basically, it's just basically you can't use this bot outside of like testing stuff. You can't like sell it off as your own. There's a whole thing in there. Yeah, so basically don't do that. This is my code, and basically that license is saying it is. And so we have our bot, and we have our base plugin. So let's copy these and drag it off to a new folder called tutorial. So now what you want to do is you want to create a new text file called token. This is where you're going to copy your token. And I made it super easy for you guys, so you don't have to actually go into the code and place the token. Instead, you just paste your token in this text file. And there you go. Your bot is set up. Now, you can invite them to your server with the OAuth 2. Just click bot, give it administrator permissions, and invite it to whatever testing server you're using. In this case, it's going to be... Hold on. In this case, it's going to be... Where is it? ShieldX tutorial. I'm just going to click continue, authorize, beep boop, boop beep, beep boop, boop beep. And there it is! Look, our bot's here. Yay! So now we're going to turn it on by just running this. You see, create some stuff, and it's on. It's got all the ShieldX features. And if you try and load the default plugin, you can use it. So I'm just going to unload the default plugin really quick. Oops. So let's create our plugin. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have pip installed. Pip is basically a Python package installer. It stands for pip installing packages, I think. Yeah. And so you're just going to want to download that. I'll have a tutorial to how to download that in the description, because I'm not going to go through the whole thing right now. But if you do have pip, you can open command prompt, or for me, I have to open a PowerShell. I don't know why. It just doesn't do it in command prompt. And then you want to type pip install sxpdk equals 1.3 and press enter. And I already have it installed, but you don't have to specify the 1.3 unless you're using a version for 1.3. If you want to get 1.3, you're going to want to do pip install upgrade sxpdk, or just do equals 1.3. And if you've never installed the ShieldX plugin development kit, plugin development kit, you just have to do pip install sxpdk, and it'll automatically install it for you. And so now you can just close whatever you're using. Now we can go into our plugins. And no, your bot will not run before if you don't install pip. Like not pip, but the sxpdk, which requires pip to be installed. So I can't say. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this cog. Well, it's a plugin, but the technical term for it is cog, since that's what it's built off of. And so we're just going to edit this. So here's our default command. We're importing the data, we're importing everything from the ShieldX plugin development kit, and we've got discord.py. And so basically this is our basis. This is our plugin. And so we're just going to change this to whatever the file name is. That's what you always want to do. You want to have the file name to be the same as whatever you put in these, and 100% whatever you put in this. Plugin loaded tests if the plugin is loaded on that server when the command is used, to prevent it from being used on servers where the plugin isn't loaded in. And if you do not have that in there, if you do not have the correct file name, it will not work. So make sure to do that. So basically what all this is we're going to create an XP boost, and so this is just the class. This is kind of like the frame of it. This is what's going to be containing all our data. This is the import section. This is where we're getting all our special modules. This is the setup where it starts the plugin and starts running it with the bot. This is the init, where if we want to keep special variables that we can call later, hold on. If you're using Notepad++, well, like I am, then you're gonna want to replace every 2 spaces with a tab. Otherwise, you're gonna get an error. You want to use the same indentation. If you get an error that says unexpected, inconsistent of spaces and tabs, that's what you're gonna want to do. You're gonna want to select all the tabs that there are, Control H, paste in there, and then press tab in here, and then click replace all, or whatever it is for your text error. So this is where we store all our special variables. So if we want to do self.xp equals, I don't know, test, have to be a string, of course. Then later we can call self.xp and it'll print test. Here's where you can define variables. So let's say xp is in here, and then you'll have to do self.xp equals xp, and then down here where it says client, then you'll also have to add like 200, and then later you can say print x self.xp and it'll say 200. It's basically the basic rundown. And then this is the onReady function. It runs when the bot starts, and it's just to confirm that the plugin loaded successfully. Now here we have our base command that we're going to want to remove at the end of this tutorial, otherwise it will create some errors. Since it's already in our default, it'll be classified as a duplicate command, and it'll end up creating some errors. But right now, let's get into the code. So first, we're going to want to make a listener, which basically listens for the event that I'm going to define. And we're going to set this to on message. And then we're going to have self and message. You always want to put self in. And so basically, whenever a message is sent, it's going to get the message as message. And so that's going to be stored as a variable. And it's going to run whatever code we put in here. So first, we want to see if we actually have the plugin, like the data for the plugin on the server. So what we're going to do is first we're going to divide guild equals message dot guild and author equals message dot author. And so basically now we know whoever wrote the message, the user that wrote the message, and the server that the user is in. So we're going to use these later to check if we have data in the server. So to check we have data in the server, we're going to try using the command git plugin guild.id xp boost bot. And so if I go over here and pull up the little documentation kind of thing, the functions for ShieldX, you can see that if we go down here, git plugin requires us to provide the server ID. So we're going to have to do guild.id or whatever you saved your server variable as. Then the plugin name, ours is XP Boost, and bot, where you're just going to want to put bot. And so that's where we're going to get all the data of the plugin in the server. But if there is no data, it's going to send an error. That's where you put except. Now basically try and accept, all it does is it tries running a command, and if it fails or brings up an error, it goes to the except, which is kind of like a catch for it. So now we're going to just put create plugin data, and we're going to want to put our guild ID again, so guild.id, plugin name again, XP Boost bot, and then you could leave this empty and it'll create an empty dictionary, but we're going to put loaded is true. And so basically it's going to create under our server is data for the plugin XP Boost, and it's going to be set to loaded true. And so this is just a temporary thing. So basically this isn't actually what we act after anyway, after, because this is just to show that that it's going to be set up now. We actually want to create an achievement using the new achievement. I don't know if that's been updated on the site. I don't think it has. It hasn't. I had to add that one because it didn't travel through. And so that's why we need 1.3, because it added a couple fixes and a couple new commands. So we're going to have guild.id, which is, we're just specifying the server. I'm going to put bot. And then we're basically just going to format it like a normal achievement. we're going to have the achievement name, which is going to be buy XP boost, the action, which is going to be buy, the sub action, which is basically just going to be whatever category we want to buy from. So we're going to call this XP boost. We're going to set the goal to 1, so it's going to trigger whenever the player buys 1 XP boost. And then we're going to set the reward to dummy, so it doesn't send a message or anything. 1. I'm going to set the reward, not the reward, the title. The reward is dummy. The title is XP boost, which means it's under the category XP boost. The achievement is. So if you wanted to, you can make an achievement for buying an XP boost and using this category section. And then the description can be anything. And so I'm just going to call this my first plugin. So this is going to just create a new achievement. It's basically a code version of using the manage achievements command. Otherwise, you'd have to do this whole thing with bot string guild.id achievements, and then what? Buy XP boost equals action by all that stuff. And so that's why I made this whole thing, to make everything a lot easier, especially to people that are new to coding. And so yeah, that's all this is going to do. It's just going to create an achievement like that. And so now we're going to actually set up the whole XP boost system, where the XP starts giving the player double XP. And so we're going to use the user class, which you can find on here, user. And this basically allows us to target a user. We can access their data, we can mess around with it, we can add items, we can progress achievements, you can remove items, get all of their data and just use it for testing purposes. Yes, testing purposes. And so we're going to set new user to user, and then we have to provide the server ID. So our server, the author ID, and so this is gonna allow us to specify the user and bot. So it's the server, it's this user and this server and the data. And so we're going to test if new user, and so we're going to get the achievement and buy XP boost. And so we're going to get all the data of the achievement by XP boost. Now we're going to check the progress. And so if the progress, we're going to specify progress with these brackets and the words progress inside. If you want to check the goal to see what the goal was, you can type goal. There's progress and goal. So basically this is just going to get the buy XP boost achievement, the progress on it. And we're going to see if it's greater than 0. If it is, we're going to set it to 0 so we can have the achievement trigger over and over again. So every time we buy an XP boost. So we're going to set it to 0 just like that, which basically resets the achievement. And then we're going to go through each item in their inventory. So we're going to create what's called a for loop, which basically it repeats for each iteration specified. So if we had a list like 1, like 2, 3, 5, -6, B, it would repeat for each one of these. So if I did for item in list, and let's say list equals that, then we could print the item. It doesn't have to be called item, that's just what I named it. You can call it alien if you wanted to. You can print it, and it'll print 1, 2, 3, 5, -6b. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through each item and the user's items. We're going to specify item IDs since that's just the item names, not the actual item data. We're going to get the amount of the item that the user has by getting count equals, oh, forgot, like that. Count is new user, and we're going to get the item's data. So we're going to get item, which is going to be whatever item is specified in this for loop. And we're going to get the count. So basically, so far, we're just going through each item in the player's inventory. We're going to get the count of the item. Next, we're going to check if the category XP boost is in the item that we are specifying, if it's in its categories. So we got count, which is specified by the brackets, and then category. So we're going to get the item from the user, and then we're going to check its categories, and if it has XP boost in it, that means it's an XP booster that hasn't been set up. So we're going to remove that item from their inventory entirely because that's our placeholder item. And then we're going to add an item in there with the category XP boost set up with the same exact name as before. And then count. So what we're doing is we're getting the item. So that's the name. So it's going to be the same name since we're using the ID of it. We're going to get the category set as set up. We're going to get the count of the item and set it to the exact same. So we're basically just essentially replacing the item. We're going to put true here. So we look back the website. Right here, you can specify if it's a consumable item. And that's a boolean, which basically is true or false. And so we're going to set it to true, which basically means it's going to be usable. But since we can't modify commands in the original bot, I'm going to have to create our own use command. But anyways, we're going to set this to true, and then we have to give it a trait to set it apart from the rest of the consumable items. So I'm going to set this to 2 times, I'm going to have to do that, 2 times XP boost for 50 messages. So for the next 50 messages, they will get twice as much XP. Alright, so that's how the item is going to be set up. So we have an achievement that tests when they buy an item with the label XP boost from the shop. If they do, it is going to replace the item with a similar looking item that gives them an XP boost. So now we're actually going to make it so the XP boost functions and gives them twice as much XP. So we're going to keep specifying our user, and we're going to make another try command. What? I keep doing that. I don't know why. So if we go to new user, and we're going to use the user tag. User just gets all of the data from the user. And so we're going to check if they have our custom data, which is going to be called XP Boost Active. And if not, we are going to set XP Boost Active to false, which in turn will create XP Boost Active. So this means when someone sends a message and they do not have our custom trait XP Boost active, it will create it under their name and set it to false automatically. Now we can skip that line. It isn't used later. Sorry, I'm looking at the thing I had pre-written. Right, so now we're going to check if we should give the user double XP. So we're going to get our custom data. Oops. We're going to get our custom data. And if we put an exclamation point before an equal sign, it's not equals. So if it's not equal to false, then we can add XP to the user. Now you can do new user.xp, but that gets the data and won't modify the data. Or at least it didn't modify the data in my testings. And then we're going to, in the original code, you're given a random number between 1, 2, and 5. And that's using randint, which is a random integer. So we're going to specify our range, 2 and 5. Now we actually have to import that. So we're going to do from random import randint. And that'll import the random integer function from random. And it won't actually work if you don't import it. Alright, so now we're going to subtract one message from the XP boost active. Now you may be wondering, how are we going to subtract 1 from a true or false statement? Well, what's actually going to happen is later on when we make our use plugin, it's going to set XP boost active to 50. And that's going to be the amount of messages left before the XP boost wears off. And so if it's not false, it's going to be an integer. So like 50, 49, 30, 12. And that's how many messages left until the XP boost wears off. So we're going to give them twice as much XP by just doubling up on the give. Then we're going to take 1 off of the XP boost. And then we're going to get XP boost one last time. Well, not one last time. Second to last time. And we're going to check if it's greater than or equal to 0. So we're going to check if it ran out. And if it has, then we're going to set it back to false. Which means this code will stop running every time the user sends a message. So now let's create our custom use command. If we do @commands.command, we can create a command. It's a lot of command. So we're going to do @plugin loaded XP boost and then bot. And so this is just going to check if the plugin is loaded in the server we're using our command on before it uses it. And so we're going to async define, which is basically just defining our command. And then we're going to set this to XB for XP boost. You're always going to want to have your own custom prefix for a command. You can't use stuff like that. But for like all the other commands, like give and take has GNT give instead of just give, because then it makes it so you don't have like one like plugin that has a give command and another plugin has a give command, and you want both, and so they're breaking each other. So you have like GNT give and BMT give, and so they're not conflicting. So what you want to do is you want to use XB use, and then it's going to be self, since you always have to put that. CTX, which is basically context. It allows us to get data from our message. So we can get like the user, we can get like the server, that kind of stuff. And then we're going to put an asterisk and then item. Basically, asterisk means it's going to get whatever we type after the command. So we get XBUs, and then we could like type Billy Bob Joe, and it'll set that to item. And then if we print item, it'll print like Billy Bob Joe. So this is for if we want multiple words in our item. So now we've got that set up. We're going to redefine our new user, except for our command. So you can no longer use just guild.id. Okay, I did not spell that right. Now you have to, and you can't use message.guild. Now it's ctx.guild.id and ctx.message.author. And then, of course, the ID, and then bot. So now we're getting the user of we're getting the author of the message in the server, and we're going to set it to their data. So we're going to check if the specified item is in their inventory by checking if it's in their item IDs. We're also going to check if it is a consumable item to see if it is usable. And so we're going to check if it's in its consumables variable. If both of these are true, we're going to do one more if statement, and we're going to check the consumables. We're going to check item. We're going to specify the item with the the normal brackets. And this is going to give us the tag that we set earlier. And we're going to check if it's actually equal to that. And so it could say roll, and it might use it, and it gives you a roll, and you don't want that. So you want to see if it's equal to this tag exactly. If it is, then we're going to set the user's XP boost active to 50. We're going to take the item from the user, move item, and then the item 1. And then we're going to send a message with await. You always have to await things that the bot is going to do in the server. So ctx.send, which is going to send it in the exact same channel, and then used 2 times XP boost. And now you're done, except for one last thing. You're going to want to press tab once on your code here, and then do if event plugin loaded. And this is also not on the website yet since it is new with 1.3. You want to specify the plugin name, which is going to be XP Boost bot, and then the guild. So it'll be message.guild. And basically, this is just making sure that the plugin's loaded for this command, for this whole thing. Since this isn't actually a command, we can't use the plugin loaded tag that we use here. We have to use a separate one. And so we have to use an if statement, which is event plugin loaded. Then the plugin, bot, and then the guild. Not the ID, just the guild. And now, if we delete this command, we are finished. And now we can test out our bot. So if we go in here, we can test out our bot by restarting it. And we've gotten an error already. That's a great way to start. Okay, so I found the error right here when I was showing off some examples earlier. I forgot to delete this, and which meant if I hadn't deleted that, you would have to put something here, and you don't want to do that unless you do, and that's okay. Just define some variables up there. Anyways, so now we should be able to run it, easy peasy. Yes, there we go. Alright, so let's set up the whole thing that I had with our new plugin. So first we're going to load our brand new plugin, XP Boost. And you can see it's loaded. It's in. We're going to add an item to the shop, XPB, and we're going to give it to the category XP Boost. I'm going to make it so it's free. It's not limited. Get one. The description is a 2 times XP Boost that lasts for 50 messages. And so since it has the category XP Boost, it'll be transformed into an XP Boost the second we get it. And so then we're going to add the display name, XP Booster. And so now, ooh, that's not right. Alright, now you can see, ooh, silly me. I forgot. It's not add. I don't know why I said add. It's shop. SX.shop. There he is, our XP booster. We can get it. We can send our update message to update it. We can open the inventory. And now for the moment of truth. We use it. Let's just look at our stats first. 58, 61. See, it's always between. It's always 2 to 5. But if we use our XP booster, oh no. Let's see. Getting it much faster. It seems like we're getting a consecutive streak of 5s. Oh, and we got 2 1s in a row. Okay. But no, I'm not getting so lucky. Oh no. User object is not subscriptable. So it looks like we must have had another error. Alright, I found it. My poop brain is just not doing it today. We have to specify .user. Otherwise it's trying to get it from the object, and that doesn't work. So if we quickly restart and have it load back up again, if we check our stats, see any errors. See, alright, so it hasn't reset it. So if we buy our XP boost again and use it, check console, no errors. Everything seems to be working fine. You seem to be earning a bit more XP. You can check the data if you really wanted to. If you can understand it all, cool. If not, that's okay. That's why I made the whole thing. And so we can check XP boost active. Oh. Okay. It's not being used. That's odd. It's very odd. Once again, my brain is slowing down the further we progress into the day. 2 equal signs means a compare function. We want to set it so it's just 1 equal sign. This has just been full of errors, hasn't it? If we just close that, reopen it, it's going to magically work. Everything seems fine. Buy it. Use it. $56, $63. There we go. That was 7, which is higher than 5, which means it obviously had to work. All right, that happened. Just pretend like I did it perfectly the entire time. Anyways, so we've created our first plugin, and now we can take this file, go over here, go to plugins, and if we just copy and paste this, you can go to plugins, drag in our file, paste this. We're going to change the plugin to XP Boost, help command, none, features, give a shop item the category XP Boost, and it will turn into a 2 times speed booster for 50 messages once used. And ta-da! We're done. And then I'll go through every now and then. I'll look through all the plugins. I'll check them out on my own test server. Give them a check mark or an X. And then I'll either add them and do a big restart after adding like 1,000 plugins. After adding all the plugins I think are approval worthy. And then your plugin will be officially added to ShieldX. And yeah, this was a bit of a long one, but it was an in-depth and complex one. But I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you all next time.